This is the full olive chain factory tour, slowed down so every proof point can actually be read. The campus is laid out as one continuous chain from Grove to Public Market, so the digital twin reads as a working site. Before we enter any building, this orientation shot fixes the geography of the whole olive chain site. The Grove now reads like a real estate, with dense terraces, lanes, irrigation, and enough scale to feel productive. The gate is the physical threshold where place and estate identity become part of the chain of proof. This is the first proof object, the estate itself, visible and named before any batch event is created. At the tree, the digital twin binds the record to a specific physical asset, cultivar, and row. The NFC terminal turns the field tag into a live registration event tied to the orchard record. The GeoSeal terminal adds geographic proof, so origin is tied to place as well as identity. Irrigation and terrace telemetry make the Grove feel like managed infrastructure, not just scenery. This lateral glide shows the orchard at full scale, with dense rows, service lanes, and repeatable tagging. The receiving yard compresses weighing, manifesting, sealing, and staging into one believable custody zone. The weighbridge is the first measured step, and it gives the later mill covenant a real quantity to compare. Here the batch mass is captured and tied to the lot, turning a physical intake into a durable record. The receiving readout wall shows crew, queue, mass, and lot state in one operational view. At the seal bay, manifest, operator, and seal event are bound together before transport can begin. The intake shot centers the moving receiving line, so the yard feels active instead of static. This overhead resets the geography and shows how the yard hands the batch directly into the custody corridor. The transport corridor is not just a connector, it is a visible route of custody with named proof points. Checkpoint 1 proves the sealed batch entered the route correctly and started its recorded journey. The second checkpoint shows continuity through the route, reinforcing that the batch stayed on the expected path. Checkpoint 3 closes the route proof before the batch crosses into processing. This transition connects route proof to mill intake, so custody and processing read as one system. From the outside, the mill reads as a real process building with its own roofline, tank yard, and service mass. This approach takes us from exterior identity into the process hall where the transformation actually happens. The wash flume is where the fruit is cleaned and prepared for extraction. The wash readout shows temperature, flow, and start of line status, so the cleaning step is measurable, not implied. The crusher room shot centers the active extraction hardware where fruit is turned into paste. Malaxation conditions the paste before separation, and the vessels make that slow, controlled step visible. At the separator line, oil, water, and solid split into visibly different streams. The filter skid polishes the output before storage, making the last refining step easy to understand. The tank yard makes storage visible, with tanks, pipe runs, and telemetry that extend the process beyond the hall. The SCADA wall brings yield, tank state, and live process validity into one operator view. This reorientation shot reconnects the process hall and tank yard before we move to quality testing. The lab is intentionally brighter and cleaner, so quality testing feels like a distinct discipline from milling. This approach sets up the lab as a true test facility, not just a white room attached to the process hall. Sample intake ties the test sample back to the lot before any chemistry work begins. The intake board records lot, time, sampler, and seal state, so the analytical chain starts with traceable context. The wet chemistry room makes acidity and peroxide testing visible as a real bench workflow. This movement shot prioritizes the active lab drives and instruments so the room feels operational. The instrument wall is where machine-assisted analysis and readouts complete the quality panel. The QC desk connects analytical results to release, audit, and escalation. The covenant wall is the release authority, pass, hold, and no override logic made visible. The pullback shows the lab as a complete testing suite rather than a string of isolated props. The bottling hall reads as a distinct packaging building with multiple lines instead of one abstract strip. The entry reveal lays out the 3 parallel lines before we inspect each one. Line 1 centers the filler and bottle flow, turning the hall into a believable production line. Line 2 shows the capping and transfer stage, reinforcing that multiple lines are operating in parallel. Line 3 completes the packaging story with the final line state visible beside the others. The bottling readout wall shows line rates, label state, reject count, and mint readiness in one place. At the passport mint, bottle identity and public proof are attached to the finished unit. The dispatch edge shows packed cases, warehouse flow, and the final handoff toward the market. The market square is the public payoff, styled as an Italian piazza where proof becomes part of the visitor experience. The stall glide makes the market feel lived in before we lock onto the proof interfaces. The scan kiosk is the public entry point where a buyer starts the proof journey without entering the factory. The proof wall turns upstream events into a readable public history of origin, process, and authenticity. Now the tour closes in on the final QR, where the physical bottle meets public proof. This is the final QR close, held square on so the public proof surface can actually be seen. The pullback reconnects the QR wall to the piazza, showing proof as part of the public experience. The final reveal shows the whole Olive Chain campus as one connected digital twin, from tree to bottle to public proof.